leader you're becoming, right? So last time we got your target set up. You have now a SMART goal. You have something that you're pursuing, right? That you have an interest in. And this will help you again to focus your time and energy, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. So just real quick, did anyone get to encourage someone else you know to pursue their talents, their dreams? Xavier, did you get to encourage anybody? Your sister, what is she good at? Art, right?
Cool.
So you told her, hey, you're pretty good at art, right? See, even though she may not have responded really, you planted a seed with her, right? That's the leadership opportunity. Gianni, did you get to encourage anybody? Okay. And German, you weren't here last week, but have you had a chance to encourage anyone in your family, brothers, sisters, anything like that? Okay, because that's the opportunity that you have as a leader. So when we encourage other people, we're actually also helping ourselves to reinforce how important it is to be able to set goals and pursue them. And of course, when you accomplish one goal, then you set the bar, right? And you just keep challenging yourself to new levels to develop your talents and skills and experience and your confidence. All right, so.
And we did not get to finish Adventure 4.
Okay.
We'll do that after class.
Well, we are so glad you're here today, because today is a very powerful toolkit that can change the rest of your life, can save your life. And we'll explain about that in a minute. So, you've been creating a vision to have now a balanced view of your life, and of course you're following now the be, do, have, right? Who do I want to be so that I know what to do, right? I prioritize, and then you're going to have the things again in life that money can't buy, right? But what can happen is if we don't stay focused, we don't get to our future. So Coda, you remember, we always ask that question, can you change your past? What can you change? The future, right? And Gianni, what's the shortest distance from today to your amazing future? You connect those dots, it looks like a straight line, right? Now, I don't repeat that to bore you. I'm reinforcing this is what you want your life to look like, right? Focus. But we still are susceptible to distractions. So we're hoping today to give you tools to really be able to push away a lot of the distractions that peer pressure or other people might try to get you to do things that you know are not good for you, that will maybe keep you from getting to your amazing future. All right, so with that in mind, in your books, we talk about 3D, right? 3 dimensions. Anyone been to a 3D movie?
Sure.
Right? So, instead of a flat screen, it looks like it has depth, like it's jumping out at you, it comes to life. Well, the same thing's true about 3T. If you can manage your 3 T's, your life will come to life. What does the 3 T stand for? Managing your time, temptation, treasure, right? These are the 3 top priorities to manage yourself. And it's a lifelong journey. Mr. Allen can tell you, even as adults, we still got to manage our time, temptations, and treasure. So, what's the consequences? Well, when you don't manage your time, if you waste time, can you ever get it back? No. And I've talked to a lot of people who look back in their life when they were your age and they say, oh, I wasted so much time, right? They have regrets. But we're going to give you the tools so you don't have to have any regrets. You can use your time wisely now to help you get to your future. The second T is your temptations. Temptations distract you, right? Temptations will be something that looks good, but it's not good for you or not in quantities, right? So a kid walks into a candy store, a little kid would be tempted to eat it all, right? They'd get sick. So you have to know how to handle your temptations. And then the last T is your treasure, your money and resources. You want to use those wisely. So again, remember, money is not the goal in life. Money is a tool to help you get the things you need in your life, right? To pursue your dreams, to have the resources that you need. All right? So managing your time, temptation, treasure. So we're going to start off with the first one, time. Okay? So in your books, you're going to see that you see 4 quadrants. I get paid $2,000, $5,000 to do time management workshops for professionals and companies, even with presidents and vice presidents, right? Why would they pay me so much? Because time is money, right? People, the more responsible, the more opportunities, the more skills you have, the more potential that your time could produce great results, right? So knowing how to use your time wisely can produce, again, great benefits and great resources in your life. So we're going to take time and we're going to divide it into 4 different categories, right? The first one in your book is things that are more urgent and more important. We call them must-dos. So a must-do is something that's scheduled, and if you don't do it, there's a serious consequence because it's important, all right? So an example of a must-do would be like coming to school, right? You're supposed to be here. When you're late, you're counted late, like tardy. If you had a job and you don't go to your job, Xavier, what's going to happen?
Get fired.
Probably get fired. Maybe a warning or 2, right? But you got to show up, and it's important, right, to be there to work on time. So building good habits now will help you in life. But another set of activities that are urgent are less important. They're called distractions. That's when someone wants you. It's urgent to them, but maybe not to you. You ever had friends call you up or texting you, and they want you to do something right away with them, but you're busy doing something else, right? But sometimes they pressure you into dropping what you're doing and responding to them, right? We call that a distraction. So that could be text messages, calls, people stopping in and interrupting what you're doing. Mr. Allen deals with interruptions all day long, but he has learned how to handle them, right? All right, another category is things that are not as urgent, but they are very important, and that's called preparation. When you prepare for something, you can do well, right? What do they say? Practice makes perfect, right? So when you practice something, Miss Debbie would practice her music over and over and over until she had it perfect, right? So preparation can be practice, can be working ahead, developing plans, taking care of yourself, like eating, exercising, right? All these things that prepare you so when you now have to perform, you're ready to work at your peak level. All right? And then the last category, it's not urgent, it's not important. So why would you spend time on something that's not urgent and not important? Any ideas? Because it's fun. It's more than a distraction, it's an escape. So for instance, if you don't like all your responsibilities or you're tired of working, whatever it is, people want to escape. This is fantasy world. This is where addictions happen. This is where you run away from your life. So what we're trying to get you to think about is make your life so good you don't have to escape from it. Make sense? So invest your time in developing your skills, doing your passion, right? So Xavier wants to be an engineer, right?
It's not.
Say again?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what you said, like a computer engineer or something like that, yeah? So again, if he had time, if he invests in his computer skills and computer interests, that's helping him to get to his future, right? But if he didn't spend time on that, he just wasted time, then it doesn't have any impact on his future at all. He's just spent the time and it's gone. He'll never get it back. So the problem with fantasy is that people do fantasy, but it doesn't positively impact their lives. All it does is steal the time away from something you could do, right? Now, I was telling the morning class, we have a friend, he's a great teacher, I think, but his name is Bob Bradshaw, and he loves fantasy baseball. And so they've got this league, they're now the oldest fantasy baseball league in the whole country, and they have a commissioner, and they draft players, and they have their own baseball season and everything. And he'd get upset, like, oh man, one of my fantasy players got injured. It's going to ruin my season. Bob, it's not real. Don't worry about it, right? But he's kind of caught up in that fantasy, right? So he's letting something that's supposed to be entertainment kind of drag him down, all right? So these are the 4 different ways we can look at our time and see how it produces fruit in our lives. So Miss Debbie has given 4 Post-it notes to each of you. So find your Post-it notes. German, do you have a stack of Post-it notes there?
Blue.
They're there,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, what we're going to have you do is, other than your time at school and your time sleeping, what do you do with your free time? I want you to write 1 activity per Post-it note of the 4 top activities that take the most of your time. all right? One per Post-it note. Where do you spend your time? Maybe you have a job. Maybe you, like to do things outside, or maybe you have hobbies, or what is it that you spend your time on? Okay, and then we're going to have you analyze what that investment is doing for you in your life. Okay, so one per Post-it note. Where do
Does
you
that have to be in order?
No,
No.
just the four
Right on.
biggest things during the day or week that you spend your time on, not in school, not sleeping, okay? Where's the rest of your 24 hours in the day going?
Part of it's being in a GPS class.
Well, that's
Oh,
school.
yeah, it's cool.
So again, everyone has 24 hours. It's what you do with your time will determine whether you're successful or whether you're not. Okay, looks like people are thinking through. All right, so now we're going to help you classify. So again, the first category, must-dos. Does anyone have a must-do activity? Something that's scheduled, and if you didn't do it, there would be a negative consequence. Anyone have a must-do in their free time? What do you have? Chores, okay? Now again, if the chore was scheduled, like for instance, you have to cook dinner, then that has to be done at a certain time. Otherwise, it would fall into preparation. You're just trying to prepare to keep the house clean and so on, but you have flexibility in when you do it, okay? Anyone else have a must-do? Yes? Okay, you got a job, right? So again, you gotta be there at a certain time, you're doing that work. If you don't show up for work, then your employer's not gonna be happy. That's your dad, I think, right? Yeah, he wouldn't be happy with you. All right. Any other must-dos? Okay. Then, as we're talking about preparation. So again, anything you do that's like helping you to charge your battery back up, take care of yourself, exercising, researching, like doing a hobby, whatever you do that kind of charges your battery back up. Okay, you kind of spend energy at work and school, and then you need something to get you back up to your peak performance. Anyone else have a preparation? What do you do that helps you building skills or anything else? Yes.
Soccer.
Okay, so soccer, you got a sport, right? So he has to practice, right? And then you practice, and then game time is a must-do. So that would be his schedule, right? And if you don't show up for the game, the coach is going to do what? He'll probably bench you at least the first time, and then if you keep missing, he'll maybe kick you off the team, right? So again, you got to show up. But coaches can often tell how well their teams will perform in the game by how well they practice, right? So practicing hard, doing the right things is great preparation for winning the game. So whatever you do, you practice, you win the game, you study, you ace the test. See how the flow, if it goes from preparation to must-do, you're setting yourself up for success. Is that good? All right, now, does anyone honestly have any distraction activities where you get kind of pulled into drama with other people, they want you to do things, and it's not maybe the best use of your time, but you end up doing it? Any distraction activities? Okay? That could be just like mindless, like you sit down and you start flipping TV, you just got distracted by, someone else is watching TV in the home, you sit down and watch it with them, right? Okay, how about then fantasy? All right, escapism. All right, Xavier, do you have one of those escapes?
Yeah. I put my computer on.
Okay, so again, kind of getting away from real life and you're being entertained, but the risk of that is that whatever he's doing isn't really going to positively impact his real life. It's truly kind of an escape out of your life, okay? Now, if it's just for entertainment and you can say, hey, I'm going to do this for 30 minutes to relax, it could actually be a preparation, right? But it's when it's not controlled, where you start, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much time I spent on that, right? Time gets away from you in the escapism. Anyone else have any other escapes? Okay, you might be spending time. Right, so your post notes, so now put your post note, all four should go into one or more categories, right? So put them, is it a must do? Put it on the must do, preparation, if it's a distraction, or if it's escape. Right, so put them on your chart there. Okay, now when we've had like a bigger class like last semester, we actually had them put their post-it notes out on a mat so we could see collectively how well the class is doing. Okay, so again, we had the ladies with the pink post-it notes and the guys with the blue. So was there really much difference between what ladies and gentlemen do at their time? No. Time management is just a human activity. It's a human challenge. So when you analyze, the goal would be to have more post-it notes above the line, right? More important things. So preparation must do would be your high leverage investments. Below the line would be where you're maybe wasting time. Okay? So, looking at the analysis of this group, Xavier, what would you think they're doing with using their free time?
Free time seems like just a lot, it's pretty even between preparing and escape.
Yeah, there's some preparation, but there's lots of escape. There's even distractions. The sad thing is they're must-dos. They just don't have much that they're really investing in their performance. Now, Miss Debbie would have had piano recitals and things like that up here, right? Because she did a lot of things to develop her talents outside just of her normal work or classes, right? So, the goal would be, if you see, gee, I'm spending a lot of time, maybe I could redirect that time to something that would prepare me for what I really want to do in my life, and have a bigger impact on my life. So, the idea is to look for time and escape and distraction and redirect it to preparation, right? Because preparation is the high leverage to then do your must-dos. So, like for instance, Michael Jordan won championships, right? They practiced hard, they prepared, and then when they win the game, what do they want to do? They want to win more games, so they practice harder, right? So the loop of success is must-do success produces desire to prepare, preparation produces more success. See how they get into this flow of preparation to must-dos is what creates good luck in your life, right? But it's not really a shake of the dice, is it? It's your investment to be prepared to do some things that well in your life be successful. All right? So the goal is to minimize time down here, maximize time up here. That's the best use of your time, okay? So we're all aware of that. So, can you change your habits? What does it take? It takes desire, or you have to want to. Then you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? What would be a better use of my time? And then I have to practice doing it. And once it's 30 days of practice, it becomes my new habit, right? I'm used to doing that. So again, we can break bad habits and build new habits in the 30-day process, right? Make sense? Right, so this is how we can look at utilizing our time wisely. So if you're committed building the habit where preparation leads to success and must do, you're going to have success in your life. But if you get caught up in getting the habit of distractions and escapism, you're going to produce more failure in your life, okay? It's just that's a reality. So the choice is whose? It's yours, right? It's your life, you get to choose, but building good habits now will help you for the rest of your life. Right? Build bad habits now, and they'll probably carry with you through your adulthood, right? So the question is, what do we attach to? What do we decide to do with our lives, right? Everyone has 24 hours, so it's an equal playing field, but the people that are successful decide to use their time to help them with their real life and not just waste it in fantasy. All right? So what keeps people from setting goals and having more challenges in their life? It's motivation, right? Who motivates you? Yourself, right? It's a choice you make. So it means you have to put in effort, right? To be motivated means I have to put in so much effort to get the results I'm looking for. But if we're willing to do our best when we put our effort in, right? Don't just get it done, do our best at it. After 30 days, we have the habit of excellence, right? Not perfect, but we're used to doing our best at everything, right? That's our standard, right? So if you have a higher standard, I do my best at everything, you're going to produce better results, and guess what? People want to hire you, they want you on your team, they want to give you promotions, right? Because that's who you are. You're a great performer, But for some people, that's too much effort, right? What are they looking for? The easy way. You know, people that are like that, they just want it easy, just want to chill, right? And so that they don't challenge themselves, they don't use their spare time to take on new problems or investigate new things in the areas that they're interested in. So what do they do then? They become lazy, right? 30 days of just always wanting it easy, you'll become lazy, right? Your motivation muscles will get flabby, right? But if you have, muscles like you exercise, right? You work them out, your muscles have great capacity to do more work, to do more things. Does that make sense? All right. So this is kind of looking at life from kind of more now of your future from an adult perspective, all right? So what are we looking to do here? Well, it basically comes down to two approaches to life. You can take the approach, and this is in your book, of what we call compliance mode. That's where you do the bare minimum, okay? Now, if you do the bare minimum at work, that means the boss has to what? Remind you, nag you to get things done, right? At home, how do you know you're in compliance mode? If your parents have to nag you to get your homework done, to do your chores, to get up in the morning, to go to bed at night, right? Instead of you managing yourself, someone else has to manage you. That's where you're in compliance mode. So what's the risk of that? Well, number one, you can't stay a kid forever, right? You can't have parents always managing you, right? You gotta manage yourself. So the key of growing up is to develop commitment mode. Commitment is where you go beyond what other people expect. Your parents go, wow, I didn't have to ask you to do anything. You're volunteering to help out at home and do these things. You surprise them, right? So like for instance, I committed to my wife, Miss Debbie, we got married, right? I'm going to be committed to you for life. So what does Miss Debbie get every night? Remember? The foot rub and back rub. Janet was paying attention, right?
Yeah.
So that sends the message to her that she's priceless, right? It sends a message of my commitment to her, right? Showing I'm putting my time investing in you and our marriage, right? So that commitment, if I can wow her, if I can surprise her, right? Then she's even happier in that commitment, right? So, boy, I'm so glad I married that guy, right? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, when Miss Debbie's, not having a great week, I surprise her with flowers. She likes flowers, right? And Mr. Allen knows this secret. A happy wife means a happy life, right? So guys, it's a principle, okay? Just, you understand that, it will work well for you in life. So when I surprise Miss Debbie with flowers, it makes her happy, right? Now, if I gave her flowers, though, every day, what would happen? She would expect them, and now I've lost the opportunity to surprise her, to wow her, right? But if you go beyond the call of duty at work, what's going to happen?
Promotion.
Right, they're going to promote you. They're going to make you a team leader because you're doing more. You're exemplary. They can count on you. They don't have to micromanage you. You're going to go beyond what they would expect you to do, right? You become valuable to them, to the company. You go beyond what customers expect. You ever had a restaurant where you had a server who was just really great? They got you extra food, they came and checked on you, made sure you were comfortable and everything, right? You got great service. You give them an extra tip, right? You show that appreciation. So if you take this approach of commitment in your life, you will always be ahead, right? You'll always have these positive things happening. But if you're always in compliance mode, what are you going to have? How your relationship's going to be? People are going to be complaining, right? Oh man, there he goes again, he missed that, he didn't do this. They always are going to be frustrated with you. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have people excited about me rather than frustrated with me, and that can even come to yourself. You ever been in compliance with yourself? You do the bare minimum when you know you could do more, right? You kind of get disappointed in yourself. Versus when you're committed, you ever done so much and you feel like really proud of yourself? Like, wow, I really did that, right? That builds your confidence, it builds your self-esteem. So this is how we can use our time to build a lifestyle of success. You like that? Right? So when I do these time management workshops, I try to help people see how they can be more productive and happier at the same time. It's a win-win, right? That's why they pay me all the money to do these workshops. It helps them, right? So, going then to our iceberg in your book, right? Then the value of the 16 core values of success, one of them is self-control, right? So flip over to the next page, fill in, if you're willing to commit to self-control, I'm gonna commit myself to making good decisions, to pushing myself, to doing my very best. Well, what does that take? I practice being proactive, putting the effort in, having the courage to do new things, commitment to follow through with what I say I'm gonna do, and hard work. And you do it for 30 days, what happens? Yeah, it's a habit. It's who you are. You're not faking it. That's who you are, and people see that, right? So you feel good about yourself, right? Because you know you're capable of doing it. You're committed. You have success as a result. You have freedom. Now you can choose to do a lot of things because you're capable, and people trust you. It's a great way to live, right? And guess what? You trust yourself. You ever had that? Sometimes you're not sure about yourself. You know, can I really do this? Am I going to get this done? Right? Uncertainty is not good, right? Lack of confidence, but being confident, I can do it. So years ago, I ran cross country. Okay, you wouldn't necessarily tell now I'm 63, right? But I was your age. I was skinny like Xavier. I learned how to run miles. It's a mental thing as well as a physical thing. Now, if I had to run for emergency, like our car broke down somewhere, I could run, right? I would just really pay for it, because my body isn't quite in the same shape I was when I was back your age. But you see, it's a mental thing, right, of knowing what you can and can't do. So again, remember the principle, building good characters. You take a principle that always works, and you value, say, that's who I'm going to be. I'm going to have that commitment, and then I build it into my habit. Sound good? All right, so if you have self-control, then you can decide to do things that are good for you, and you can decide not to do things that are bad for you. Would you agree if you have self-control? Right? No one else is controlling you out there, not peer pressure. You decide what's the best thing to do, and you do it regardless. All right, so now we're going to apply this in a very special way to temptation, okay? So temptation, remember, is something that looks good, but it may not be good for you, or in the quantities, or when do I want it, right? So this is a video you might see out on the internet. It's called the marshmallow test. So they have these little kids to test their willpower, their self-control. They're given a marshmallow. If they can wait, they get a second marshmallow. But if they can't wait, they have to have immediate gratification, right? Then they don't get the second marshmallow, all right? So can they discipline themselves to wait for something, all right? So look at what the kids do, what helps them to wait, and what makes it harder for them to wait as they fall into the temptation, all right? So take a look at this and see what you think, and maybe think of yourself when you've been tempted. All right, there's the marshmallow. All right, here's the first kid. These are little kids.
Sit in that chair. All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right.
Got the challenge. Now you notice the door is closing. All right, now he's all by himself. What do they do with the temptation? Sniffing it. Is that a good idea? Staring at it. Obsessing over it.
I'm gonna go do something, and then I'll come back.
It's yummy. It smells really good.
Oh, he's picking it up. That looks dangerous. All right, he thought about it, put it back down, right? That shows some self-control, thinking about it. He's looking away, is that good? But then he's grabbing the temptation. How about just a little taste? Like, you can eat just one Lay's potato chip, right? He's looking all over it, trying to distract himself. Think about something else. Uh-oh. She's picking at it now. Just a little taste. Does that make it easier or harder?
All right, so it's up to you. You can have it now or you can wait. Okay? I'll be back. Stay in the chair, okay?
That's a very little girl.
Okay.
Watching. The door is closing. Hard to wait, huh? Imagining.
then I'll come back, okay?
Really,
So you can either eat it right now or you can
no
wait. Either way,
self-control.
okay? Okay.
Just going for it.
How'd you do? Did you do good? You did? You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give me another one? Okay, now you can have both. You can eat 'em.
And she crashed and burned. Okay, so you get the idea, right? So we gave you the mints. That's kind of like your marshmallow, right? Now you guys, you're pretty mature, and maybe mints aren't the most tempting thing to you, right? But for these kids, that sweet, sweet marshmallow, sugary and everything, is really tempting, right? So what did they do to make it easier to resist the temptation? What was a good strategy? What do you think? Looking away, not focusing on your temptation, right? Don't give it power. So using your senses, tasting, looking at all that stuff, it makes it worse, right? So when they started to play with their temptation, it made it harder and harder to say no. So think about for yourself. What's tempting for you? What's something that if you wanted to have immediate gratification, you can't wait, right? So like our country these days, our culture is kind of like we want it when? Now, right? So for instance, like you go to the store and you want to buy this big screen TV. What's like, they have like 85 inches now, like in the stores. Pretty common. I want to have that flat screen. Oh, I don't have that money. Oh, but I got a credit card, right? So the fantasy of the credit card, I'll buy it now and I'll pay for it later, right? So we're the richest country in the world, but 75% of Americans are in debt, right? Because of wanting the immediate gratification, but not necessarily managing their finances well, right? So if they don't have the money, that credit card debt starts to accumulate interest, and it starts getting more and more expensive for that TV, right? So, do you have the self-control? Now, I had a paper route when I was a kid. We actually delivered paper to people's houses, okay, they were getting to the store, right? So, I saved up on my money to get a really nice bike for my paper route, right? And I went to my mom and said, hey, can I borrow the money to get a nicer bike so I can do my paper route faster? And what did she say? No. Save up your money, and when you got enough money, then you buy the bike, right? You have to wait, right? You work for something, right? College. I paid for my way through college, right? If you came here to get a high school diploma and you came up to Mr. Allen and said, Mr. Allen, I want my diploma and I want it now, right? Would he give it to you? No. Would it mean anything if he did? No. It's like people get these like degrees, mail order degrees. It means nothing if they haven't really worked for it. But when you get your diploma here at Western University, it means something to you, right? You've worked for it, you've learned, you've earned it, right? So it's something that's going to be valuable to you. See what I'm saying? So things that are valuable in life, usually you have to wait, you have to work for it, you have to earn it. But we've got this culture of wanting immediate gratification. It puts us at risk, right? So, if we can't wait, you guys all waited, so Miss Debbie's going to give you a second mint. You passed the marshmallow test in here. Congratulations.
You can eat them.
You can eat them now, yeah? So, an addiction is something that you can't wait. You don't have the self-control, right? So, a definition of an addiction is a reoccurring urge, write this in your books, for something that you can't control. Who should be in control of your life? You, right? Not an addiction. But some people give up control of their lives to addictions. And then their lives get ruined, right? That addiction takes over, takes away their freedom, their ability to choose what they really want in their life. So there's two kinds of addictions. There is a drug or chemical addiction, right? And there's a habit addiction. So a habit addiction is just like, it's your favorite. You like to do it, right? Your favorite TV show, maybe, right? And so you want to watch it, and you build a habit of getting used to doing it, right? A chemical addiction is when your body craves it. You've introduced now this new substance, drug, and it messes with your brain chemistry. And it's not used to this drug or whatever, so it now has to have it. And that's why someone who becomes a drug addict is out of control. Because all they can now start to focus on is, how am I going to get my next fix? because their brain will go into convulsions if it doesn't get what it wants, right? So it's a very dangerous condition to be in. Habits, we can break them if we choose to. But if we fall into our habits and give in to them, sometimes we lose a little control, okay? We're human though. So we're gonna kind of check out how do bad habits lead to addictions, all right? So I'm gonna have everyone stand up for a minute. All right, Mr. Allen's gonna play along with us here, okay? All right, so I'm gonna name off some common bad habits that people have that we fall into, all right? If it's yours, if it's something that's hard for you to say no to, you're gonna sit down. And once you sit down, stay down, okay? So like the first one is Miss Debbie's favorite. She loves chocolate,
Sweets.
sweet. So she's a chocoholic,
So,
right?
come sit down.
So anyone else have a challenge with chocolate? You know, someone offers you chocolate, you just can't say no? Okay, so far.
Only
Right.
one.
Only one, wow, okay. How about phone addiction? You have to have your phone with you, and if it dings, it buzzes, you gotta see who it is. Anyone have a phone addiction?
Okay.
All right.
A
so far, so
shopping
good.
addiction.
Shopping, you go to the store, you gotta buy something, like, we call it a hole in your pocket, right? The money just doesn't stay there. All right, no
Oh,
shopping addictions here,
good.
Mr. Allen, pretty good. Okay, now one of mine is like a sports addiction, like watching the Rays, I gotta see the ninth inning, so even if the game goes late, I could just wait till the morning and see what the score was, but I wanna see what happens now. All right, see, Germans like me, right? We got a little bit of a sports addiction there, okay?
Computer games.
Computer games, you get going, it's hard to stop,
Gianni's
hard to
on
say
that.
no, all right? All right, so that got just about everyone. Gianni, what's a bad habit for you? Hard for you to say no to something. Food, okay, her favorite foods, right, okay. That's very common too, right? So the point is, we all have some bad habits, we all have some weaknesses. But if you're honest with your weakness, which you all did, right? You sat down, you took ownership of it, now you have the ability to control it, right? You have a proactive plan. So for instance, for Miss Debbie, you know, she just is careful about buying chocolate all the time, or we kind of like hide it, it's not like immediately right out in front, you know, because it's too
We
tempting.
put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer, right?
Not so tempted.
Right? So then if like, the Rays haven't started their season yet, today was the first day, but I have to kind of set my expectations, right? Is this a day I could stay up late to watch it or not? I have to make that decision proactively.
And we don't have TV.
And we don't have TV right now, so that kind of has solved some of that problem. Right? So again, move away from the temptations if you don't need them. But if you know that you're gonna face a temptation, prepare yourself ahead of time, right? So let's say you like to play some computer games. What you can do is set your alarm for 30 minutes. I'm gonna play for 30 minutes to relax, but I'm not gonna let it control my life. So when the alarm goes off at 30 minutes, I made a commitment to myself. I will then stop, I'll save where I am, and I'll play tomorrow, right? But you have to take control, you have to have that plan proactively so that it doesn't become something that steals your time away from you. Make sense? All right, so this is the opportunity to make sure you're in control of your life. So whatever it is, whatever's tempting, put a plan together so that you don't have to suffer the consequences of letting it become an addiction. So, again, the goal is, if you know what you want to do with your life, you've got something that's important, what you want to be, right? Then you'll prioritize your time to do those things first, right? You work and then you play, right? Put your energy into all the work things and then you can relax a little bit. Then you're going to have success in your life, right? That is the goal. That's how you discipline yourself, right? You build in self-control and you start to trust yourself, and then other people trust you, right? Now, Miss Debbie knows I don't drink. I made a decision in college not to drink, okay? And I'll tell you that story in a minute. But what's the freedom from that? Well, Miss Debbie never has to worry about me having a DUI, right? I can't be stopped for something that I don't do, right? So having some freedom over things that you don't need in your life can be a very positive thing. So we're going to talk about how to do that. So if you focus on what's your vision, what are the important things in your life, and you balance things out, you can have a very happy, successful life, right? But some people start to fall into pleasure, right? They're not happy with some things in their life, maybe stresses or whatever, so they try to find a little escapism of pleasure. Now, when it's small, it's manageable, right? But if it starts to grow, See how it starts to become dominant, and then some people let it continue to go, where it even affects their dreams become smaller because the pleasure is overtaking. That's when an addiction happens, right? When something is so important, it's more important than your dreams, now you're in trouble, right? It's going to start changing the direction of your life. So this is what we want to talk with you about, how to avoid this from happening. So the reactive approach, right? I gotta have it, so that I do things to get it and end up being addicted, right? Or in jail, or in debt, or whatever the negative consequences is. See how that's not the approach, right? This is reactive addiction versus proactive control of your life. See the difference? The freedom versus addiction, all right? So now, again, do you have the desire to stay in control of your life? If you do, then you can exercise that self-control and that discipline, right? And so then you learn strategies of how to deal with it, and you build your habits so that you are consistent. You're able to overcome and manage any of the little habits that you might have. Don't let them grow into big habits. So, what happens? Well, if we attach to this approach, I'm going to prepare so I'm able to be successful in the things that are important in my real life, right? My real life is so good I don't need to escape from it, right? So if you are happy with your life, you're happy with your relationships, then you're going to be in a very positive place, right? Your life is moving forward towards your vision. You're happy with the choices you're making. But if you're not happy with your life for whatever reason, then you're very susceptible to escaping into addiction. That make sense? And at first it may seem harmless. You say, oh, I can manage this, right? But you're on that slippery slope. So we want to help you to think through how to avoid this from happening. So the first thing is to understand your body. Ms. Debbie's going to give you this handout. You have the chemicals in your body. As my 10th grade chemistry teacher, Mr. Watson, told me, you have all the chemicals to have the highest high or the lowest low. You have to learn how to manage them. Now, I believed him. I just didn't really have all the information. We're going to give you the information right now. So the four main positive chemicals in your brain is dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin, and serotonin. All right? Now, what do these do for you? Well, when you achieve a goal, you ever work hard for something, a project or something, and you accomplish it, and you feel good, right? Your body automatically release dopamine. You didn't have to make it do that. You did it by this activity. It rewards yourself. When you then complete a task, you feel good. You check it off your list. Some people like to have a checklist, right? Because they can check it off. It just releases dopamine. You feel good about it. I'm doing productive things, right? That's how your body's designed. How about endorphins? You exercise. Anyone kind of worked out, and after a good workout, you feel good, right? Right? It's your natural body's approach. Your body needs exercise, so it rewards you. It gives you then endorphins, which kind of remove any other pains and aches you might have in your body, right? So again, when you exercise, you get your muscles going, you're able to overcome some of the normal challenges of our bodies, right? You wake up in the morning, you're a little stiff, you know how to exercise and stretch and stuff. Or, how about laughter? Everyone loves to laugh, right? That's why we have comedians, and you watch maybe, a comedian you enjoy, maybe on YouTube, or right? And you laugh about it. That's healthy to laugh, right? So your body rewards you with endorphins. It makes you feel good, right? But if you help other people, you ever help people and you feel good about it, right? It's your body rewarding you. It's good to help other people, right? Not just to be selfish. All these things are the way our bodies are designed. How about serotonin? You ever have a kid, your parents say, gotta get outside, right? Go outside. Now, maybe they want a break from you, I don't know. But they want you outside because outside, it releases serotonin, right? Your skin. It also gets you
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, right? D3, right? So that helps your immune system, right? So getting out in the sun is really important. People up north where it's cloudy and dark and cold, and during COVID people were stuck inside, you wonder why people were more depressed. It was because they're not getting enough serotonin, right? So their moods are going down instead of up. Or how about being out in nature? right? Just being in nature, we're designed to respond to that kind of environment. So like Miss Debbie and I got our bikes fixed, we've been on a bike ride, we don't live out in the country, so we ride along, there's cows, and they like us to feed them, and you pet them, so you get some oxytocin, right? So if you exercise, biking, and you're petting animals, and you're out in the sun, you get a triple, right? That's good use of your time, isn't
This
it,
is
right?
still really good.
So if you know how to use your body's chemicals, you get positive results. There's no negative side effects. They're built in. Your body releases them in healthy levels, so you can't overdose on dopamine or endorphins if your body's releasing it. Pretty cool, right? That's the way you're designed. That's what Mr. Watson said. You have all the chemicals, so you have the highest high levels. You don't need drugs. But why do people take drugs? Well, number one is, I don't want to do all that work, right? I don't want to have to accomplish goals and tasks. I don't want to have to exercise and get hot and sweaty, right? When do they want to feel good? Now, right? Immediate gratification. So they take illegal drugs that causes your body to stimulate to release these, not often in healthy quantities, but the drug itself then is foreign to your body, so you have side effects from it, right? The body doesn't know what to do with it. And if it becomes addicted because you're messing with your brain chemistry, now your brain thinks it has to have that drug to release these things. See how it messes you up, right? It messes your brain chemistry up. So instead of allowing natural things to happen, people are trying to impose the drug to get the immediate satisfaction that they're not willing to work for. Now, what happens? Well, they did a survey here of substances because of COVID and stuff. They found that people that used alcohol and then used marijuana, it's kind of like a gateway to interrupting the release of these chemicals in your brain, right? Then you go to bigger drugs to get more effect. What happens? You have a greater sense of depression. So wait a second, Mr. Kane, I thought these things were supposed to make you feel good. They do initially, but alcohol is a depressant, right? After its immediate effect, it actually depresses you. You're worse off than when you started. Does that make sense? So let's say your mood was here, you get some alcohol, okay, ooh, I feel good, and then we're going to go, whoop, you go down further than you were before, right? And if you keep, and then I want to take something else to feel good, something else, you're going up, and then you're going deeper down, it starts to build on you, and you become more depressed. That's why people that are using artificial drugs are at high risk for depression. Does it make sense? But they think, wait a second, I'm taking these to feel good, but it actually has the opposite effect because it's not sustainable, right? And we can't feel good all the time anyways. That's not really realistic, right? You work for something, then your body releases the endorphins to reward you for accomplishing something. Now you feel good, right? And it's sustainable. See the difference? See, I wish I was trained in this. We're giving you this information now. So here's the research showing alcohol actually higher risks of people for suicide. People that have given up. They've tried to do reality. My reality's not good, so I tried doing this fantasy stuff, and it's actually worse. They don't know why, and so they start to say, I can't handle it anymore. I'm quitting. And they will feel like giving up on life. Isn't that sad? Just because they don't understand the chemicals and how their bodies work. So alcohol, marijuana, all these other drugs, all these illegal drugs, all have the same negative effect and put people at higher risk. It's a shame, right? When people have dreams of things they can do with their lives, and here they're ready to throw it away. Kind of sad, right? So you got to flip over to the other side of the sheet. So marijuana is an entry-level drug, and some people think, oh, well, you know, I hear medical marijuana, oh, it must be good for you, right? Medical marijuana is for people that are sick or dying, right? It's to help them with pain management. If you're healthy, like you guys are, you don't want to take something that's going to make your body worse. So there's short-term effects, which affects, again, your brain activity. People that take marijuana, they feel lazy, right? Their brains slow down. There you go, on the backside of that, yeah, right? And there's long-term effects. Your body is still developing, right? Your frontal lobe doesn't develop till how old? 25, right? So right now, you're even more susceptible to these artificial drugs damaging your body for life.
brain damage.
That'd be sad, right? So that's why it's especially important to stay away from this stuff while your body's still developing. Because how much are you worth? Priceless. What do? You take care of something that's priceless. You take care of your body, right? You take care of yourself. You take care of your life. So, what's happening? Well, they're getting clever and more clever to try to pull you in, right? To seduce you into these drugs. So here's Skittles, candy, right? Kids are used to eating candy. Sugary, not the greatest for you. But then they have Skittles, but it says medicated original. What does that mean? That means it has THC. It's a drug. But it looks like candy, right? So sometimes people will use it to disguise it. Sometimes kids, even young kids these days, will take it and it doesn't have the immediate effect. You know, it's delayed. So they'll eat a whole bunch and all of a sudden they're really sick. They have to be rushed to the hospital, right? Because they were treating it like candy. Sad, isn't it, right? But that's what's going on. So they're trying to pass laws to stop this disguising dangerous drugs to look like candy. But it's a felony to have these kinds of illegal drugs or distribute them or sell them or whatever it is. So you're putting yourself at risk. So I can tell you in my life that I grew up in a family where my mom's mom was a terrible alcoholic. And so my mom, she would not let any alcohol in our home at all. So I was raised without alcohol. I was happy. We didn't need alcohol, right? We celebrated, Christmas and celebrations, and we just didn't have any alcohol because we didn't need it, right? So when I went off to college, my freshman orientation, right, the first week before classes start, my roommate Jim Page and I went down to the freshman orientation party so you could meet other freshmen, right? So this was at Cornell University, right? And so they have punch, so you can drink something while you're talking to people. So I took a sip of that punch, and it tasted terrible, right? So I went into the back room. I had worked in a drugstore, and it was Gilby's gin and this other alcohol. So I went to the resident assistant who was running the party. I said, "Why are you spiking, putting alcohol in the punch? We're all underage." It was 21 was the drinking age in New York at that time. He said, "Oh, that's what you do at college." I said, "Well, we're breaking the law. Could you at least give us the choice? Give us a spiked and non-spiked punch?" And she looked at me like I had 3 heads, right? So I came out the gym, and I said, "Jim, they're spiking the punch, and we don't get a choice." And it was a defining moment to use my values to make a decision. Jim and I decided we're not doing college their way. I'm paying for my college. I want to get a good education. I'm not going to drink it and waste it away. We walked out of that party, and we did college our way. Right? It was a decision that I made then that helped me get all the way through college. Now, I did join a fraternity because I have a big family. I'm used to people being around, right? So I was in this fraternity. Well, what do they do at fraternities, sororities? They drink and do drugs, right? And I just didn't participate because I didn't need it, right? But the next morning after a party, these people are sitting next to the toilets in the bathroom, vomiting and throwing up because of all this junk. Now, I never experienced that, but I didn't have to experience it to know how nasty it was, right? So I didn't have to do that, right? And so at a very young age, in my family, having older brothers and sisters, I learned if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to make a unique mistake. I can learn from other people's mistakes. So I didn't have to go down that route, right? And that was a real benefit to me because I didn't have to get caught in these kinds of addictions. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like your choices. What do you want to do? How do you want to take control of your life? Or whether you want to give the control in your life away to these bad habits. Now, another kind of addiction is belonging. Some people are so desperate to belong, right? They want to be liked. They want to fit in. We've been training you guys to be leaders. You don't have to fit in, right? You create your own path and people will follow you. But there's 2 types of gangs. There's criminal gangs. You can write this in your book. These are people that have gone to jail. They committed crimes. They get caught, put in jail. They get out. They don't want to go back to jail. So what do? They hire and recruit kids your age to do their dirty work, to do their criminal activities with drugs and guns or whatever it might be, right? And because you're minors, you don't maybe get the same penalties, but you get a record. Now, how do they tempt the kids into this is with money, with phones, with shoes, whatever it is, belonging, being part of the gang, right? But the problem in the gang is they take control away from your decisions, right? You have to do what the gang tells you to do. You no longer have that freedom to choose whatever you want, right? Be in the gang, you gotta do what the gang does. You're doing criminal activities, not good, right? Now there's a second kind of gang, cool gangs. Now you might say, okay, well this is less harmless. Cool gangs where you just want to belong to the popular gang, right? The cool kids. But to be cool, what do you have to do to show you're cool? You have to pick on someone who's not cool. So they bully, right? So the problem with cool gangs is they bully kids around them, and it creates a lot of harm and anger and frustration for people that are being bullied. We've all probably been bullied, right? We've even been bullied in our adult world. There's difficult people in the adult world. You have to learn how to handle those people. But gangs, you don't want to belong. Gangs are the opposite of teams. Teams have a purpose, like a sports team, right? Your soccer team, German, right? You practice, you build your skills, you learn to work together. These are good life skills. You produce positive things. Gangs do negative things. You see the difference? So don't get caught in gangs, be part of teams. That's going to help you to be successful in life. All right, now there's another kind of addiction, all right? Okay, another kind of addiction is gun violence, okay? You've heard of the school shootings, right? You hear it in the news all the time. It's terrible. Well, here's some examples. You can follow along the book. Heath High School, right? A student killed 3 students. What was their backstory? They were, the shooter enjoyed violent video games, had been the target of bullies, and suffered from thus a variety of diagnosed mental illnesses, right? They're having problems dealing with life. All right, another, Columbine in Colorado. 2 kids killed students and teachers. Their backstory, they enjoyed playing violent video games, and they were often bullied. Sandy Hook in Connecticut. Again, a 20-year-old kid messed up, right? Does his killing, spent a lot of time in his basement playing a wide variety of video games. He was a loner, was known for mental illness issues. As a result, got fascinated with gun, shootings and things like that. Here's another one. Parkland here in Florida. In 2018, on Valentine's Day, a student shot 14 students and 3 staff. What's the backstory? Spent long hours playing violent video games, was not popular, and suffered thus from depression, right? So you see these different shootings, all right? Now, with these shootings though, it was obvious there was a problem with these kids. But did people do anything about it? No, hey, it's not my business, right? And they just stayed out of it, right? So the problem is these people who get bent out of shape, they lose touch with reality, then do dangerous things, okay? So they did a study trying to understand what's going on. So for 10 years, from 2009 to 2019, they studied in different countries how many school shootings. In Canada, only 2. France, 2. Germany, 1. Japan, Italy, 0. During that 10-year period, how many school shootings in the United States? More.
100?
288, right?
Damn.
Whoa! So obviously there's something going on in our country that's different from other cultures.
28.
All right, so they said, well, maybe it was just 10 we just had a bad streak of time, right? So they did a trend analysis. Here's the United States. Is it getting better or worse?
Worse.
Worse. So there's a problem that's getting worse. We need to do something about it. So here's the pattern. Kids that are bullied are at risk of getting anger, right? Frustrated. They don't like it. So what do? Do they like their life being bullied? No, they want to escape from it, right? So they start playing video games, then they find violent video games where they get points for shooting people up. And, oh, it's just fantasy, I'm not hurting anybody, right? But they start to get desensitized, right, into this kind of behavior. So what happens then? They get further depressed, right? They're spiraling down, but they see that guns gives them power. They felt powerless with the bullies, right? So now they start to fantasize, because they're already in fantasy world, about using guns to get revenge on the bullies. Does it make sense? It's kind of a logical progression, right? So if this is happening, these people get further and further off the deep end. As they lose touch with reality, and the fantasy is now taking over. So what can we do about it? Well, the first thing is we got to stop the bullying, right? The bullying is damaging people. We don't want people to be damaged, right? So that's why we try to help people, right? You guys are being trained to be leaders. Just, hey, we don't bully around here, right? If we can stop the bullying, we stop the damage, right? Another thing you can do, if you see someone isolated or alone, sitting by themselves, no friends, be a friend to them, right? They need a friend. they don't, if they're isolated, they're susceptible to this depression spiral, right? But if you see them talking about rifles and guns, right, you start to say, hey, that's not cool, right? They're testing out. You ever see someone bragging about guns? They're testing their fantasies out. If you say, oh yeah, that's cool, they think it's all right. But if you say, whoa, you don't want to be messing with guns, it shakes them out of their fantasy back to reality, right? Hey, that's dangerous, you can hurt yourself or other people, right? They need to hear that. So, again, you can report. There's a no-joke phone line to get people help. Now, you're not tattling on them, you're not narking on them, you're getting them the mental health counseling that they need before they do something dangerous. Does it make sense? So, you can be part of the problem or part of the solution. We all just look the other way, more shootings, right? If we start helping people, inviting them to be part of our teams, not gangs, right? So if you got a club or soccer, right? You know, German can invite someone to, hey, you want to join our soccer, team or something, right? Invite people to join your teams, not gangs. Teams good, gangs bad, right? Don't be a part of it, okay? So, would you say this is heroic, right? You being trained to be a leader, you can be heroic. You can help stop this dangerous trend that's really just getting out of control in our country. So, what do? We've got to then be thoughtful of being, again, programmed to be proactive and not reactive. So, our leadership program, if you want to help with our summer camps, we can take the pledge to be an anti-bullying mentor leader, and you take a pledge, you say, hey, I'm going to look for bullying and try to stop it where I can, right? So Malik, one of our students way back from Stewart Middle, has been mentoring in our summer camps, and he's now at Middleton High School, and he's been developing his leadership skills. He was a very kind of quiet, shy introvert when he started. Now he's really got control of his life. He's a great guy. So, what's the principle of success? People don't plan to fail, right? They don't want bad things to happen to themselves, but if they fail to plan, they allow it to happen, right? So we're helping you guys to realize you want to plan now to handle temptation, to handle your choices in life. Just who are you going to spend time with, right? Do not get involved in the negative things that can pull and ruin your life, steal you from your dreams. All right? So again, it's all about your desire. Do I desire to have a good life? Then I educate myself, which is what we're doing here with you, and I build then good habits. Seems logical, right? It's common sense, but it's often not common practice because people don't really understand how their bodies work, how their brains work, and they don't understand the consequences. You guys have been educated now. You got the truth. And the truth will set you free. Exactly right. So, you can either get caught in all this reactive, negative stuff, or you can be proactive in your planning. But it's not really luck. It's not a shake of the dice. It's an outcome of your decisions, right? And who's in control of your life? You are, until you give it away. Don't give it to drugs. Don't give it to gangs, right? Don't give control of your life away. So we have a friend, Derek. We told him, we do this training. And he said, hey, I did the whole drug stuff and everything. I'd really like to put together a testimony to share with your students. So he can kind of share with you what the outcomes, what he had to deal with to get through that. So can I play it for you real quick here? Okay, so listen, this is his life story.
Hello, Jeff and Debbie and young adults. My name is Derek. Jeff and Debbie asked me to share a little bit of my story, my testimony on why I don't participate with drugs and alcohol anymore.
He's successful.
It's not the case for most of my life. I'll tell you how it started for me. I always wanted to feel different for some reason, or I wanted to try to fit in. And in doing so, when at 12 or 13 years old, I started smoking cigarettes. I started to use other tobacco products. That progressed to when I was 14 to start drinking. When I did these things, I wanted to do it again. Even though a lot of times I would feel sick from doing them. I would smoke a cigarette, feel sick. I would chew tobacco, feel sick. I would drink and feel very sick because I did drink a lot when I would drink. And even though I did those things and they made me feel sick, for some reason I just wanted to continue doing them. And it was either the crowd that I was hanging out with, or again that I just wanted to feel different, or just kind of felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. And that progressed into me smoking marijuana or weed I didn't excel much in school.
No surprise,
I wasn't
right?
really interested, and I would attribute that to being preoccupied with drugs and alcohol. I did play a lot of sports. I did excel in sports. I actually got a scholarship to college for tennis. And the thing is that when I left for college, most of it was paid for, which my parents were very happy about. But unfortunately, when I got there, because of my drinking and drug usage, I ended up failing out within the first year.
Lost to
I
scholarship.
don't have many regrets in my life, but you know, to ruin an opportunity like that to get high or to get drunk, looking back, is just not something that I wish I would have done. Let's just say that. I moved back home, well, to Florida, and my drug and alcohol usage progressed from there. You know, what became, or what was something that was fun to me, and you know, I was, you know, smoking pot and having fun and giggling, and then I would drink and I would, you know, have a good time. And let me not say that I didn't have great times. I did when I was doing a lot of these things. But the thing is that looking back, it didn't add anything to my life. Right now, I live an incredible, fulfilling life. I have more fun than I've ever had in my life, and it has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. There's nothing that drugs and alcohol can add to my life. And so the other thing that I want to impress on you is that today I have peace of mind. And what I mean by that is that when I would drink or do drugs, you know, I always was wondering, okay, am I going to get caught? Why do I feel so bad, and when am I going to feel better? You know, who's going to find out? You know, there was always something that was a negative that was attached to me doing these things. And you know, they always say, what goes up must come down. Well, if I'm getting high and I'm getting drunk and I'm on this extreme high sometimes, well, it's going to be the opposite effect. And so, you know, I try to limit those things in my life these days. I just try to have like an easy, you know, even keel life. You know, that's what I really try to do today, and that's what gives me peace of mind. You know, it progressed into even worse things. I ended up going to jail quite a few times because of my alcohol consumption and my drug usage. It took me to places that I never thought I would be. And I think starting out, you know, you think, oh, this is pretty innocent. I'm young, you know, and that, you know, that's in a sense true. But where it could lead to is much more than that. And, you know, I've done pretty much every single drug that you can think of. I don't say that to brag. I say that I've tried them all. There is nothing that, again, that drugs and alcohol can add to my life. You know, I don't have to worry about if I'm going to go to jail. I don't have to worry about what my family's going to think. I don't have to worry about what my friends are going to think. And, you know, I know, you know, in high school that, you know, I was running with certain crowds and I wanted to fit in. And, you know, you know, you always hear, I mean, even me growing up, and I think we'll always hear it about peer pressure, right? And like, you know, what is my friends doing? What am I going to look like? The thing is that, you know, looking back, that was really dumb for me to do things because other people were doing them. Because, you know, if you progress to where I progressed with addiction, then what you end up seeing are usually three things. Either you see the person going to jail, you see the person getting put in an institution like a drug or alcohol rehabilitation center, and the last thing you see is death. And you know, the first two, yeah, I mean that those are kind of like normal things. People obviously live through them because they're not death. But the dying part never dawned on me. Like it never, like if somebody, you know, like I did have friends that were young that died because of alcohol consumption. And it didn't bother me at all. Like I just didn't, but it didn't make me think any differently. It didn't make me want to do differently. It didn't. It was of no consequence to me. But, you know, as you get older, those things start to kind of, you know, you start to think about those a little bit more. And I've been to jails. I've been to institutions. And so, you know, there's only one thing left that could happen with me, because I don't want to go to jail again. I don't want to go to another institution. The institution was great for what it did for me, but the thing is that the truth of the matter is there's no reason for it. And I don't mean there's no reason for those places. I mean there's no reason to get there. There's no reason to have to go there if you can just stop. Now I'm part of a program that I go to, and I go on a daily basis. It's a great spiritual program for me that I love, and I go there because I want to, and I also feel that I need to. But there's a lot of different ways to stop. There's a lot of different ways to not continue on a certain path, or to never get into that path. And I don't know what that path is for you, if that's an issue for you. Obviously, Jeff and Debbie are a great resource, and they can connect you with other great resources. But the path that I chose works for me, and I've been able to stay sober for quite a while. And again, I just want to impress on you that there's nothing that would entice me to go back and do the things that I used to do. The peace of mind that I have is greater. It's greater to me than anything else that anything can add to my life. Drugs and alcohol can't do that. In fact, it steals my peace of mind. Again, as I said before, I start thinking, okay, what's going to happen to me? Who have I hurt? When I drank, I felt horrible after. It wasn't do anything for me. And today, like I said, I have peace of mind. I have a great relationship with my parents. I have a great relationship with my son. I have a great relationship with friends. I don't hold back from doing anything. A lot of times people think they can have more fun, or if they go to a concert or play music or play sports or whatever that is for you. I always thought it was more fun if I was drinking or using drugs, and that's just not the case, because I do all the same things that I used to do, and I have a much better time. And when I drive my car, I don't have to worry about if I get pulled over, because I'm not inebriated. I'm not under the influence of anything. When I wake up in the morning, I don't have to feel bad. It's just where I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, because that's what this can lead to. That's what any type of drug use or alcohol usage can lead to. And so, again, I just want to impress on all of you that it's not needed. If you need help, get help. It's out there. Don't be scared to ask for help. That can definitely hurt in the long run. It's much better to go ahead and ask somebody and tell somebody that you need some help in your life. And I've continued to do that in many aspects of my life, and it's worked out very, very well. People like to help other people, and it feels good to do so. And now, that's why I'm speaking with you today. I speak in treatment centers, I speak in other places, because I want to pass this on to other people. We talk about in the groups that I go to, if we could just have, we had glasses on, and we could just take those glasses off and put it on you for a minute, so you could see the joy, the love, the serenity that life can bring by living this way of life without, living a life without drugs and alcohol. That if you got a glimpse of that, then I don't think you'd ever want to touch it again. So I want to thank you again for your time today. I really appreciate it. This helps me just as much as I hope that it helps you. And God bless you all. Thanks.
All right. So you notice, does he look happy? He's got a happy life now. He has freedom. Now, he didn't tell you all the bad things that happened to him. So he has a kid, right? So he was married. What happened to his marriage when he was addicted? It ruined his marriage, right? So some things he's been able to repair, some things you can't. You're going to have regrets. So the whole idea is, don't go down a path if it's not going to be constructive at all in the first place, right? Choose to do a better path. So again, I was lucky that I got on a positive path and made good decisions, right, at a critical time. So now I just had a checkup. I'm 63 years old, right? And the doctor checks, all your liver and everything, right? He says, Jeff, your liver is pristine. It's like a 14-year-old, right? Now, what's good about having a liver? Now, drinking alcohol cirrhosis of the liver, destroys your liver, right? What's good about having a healthy liver? What does the liver do? It filters your blood, it builds your immune system. So I'm rarely sick because of that decision I made way back when I was your age. It's affected me for the rest of my life. See how powerful that is, right? So again, this is the opportunity. We want to give you the information now so that you can make these good choices. You can have freedom and get focused on putting your time and energy into your dreams and having a great life, and don't have it ruined by drugs and alcohol or gangs or school shootings, whatever. Now, he didn't, of course, mention here, but now with all the fentanyl coming across the border, just a little fraction of fentanyl in any of these drugs that look like candy can kill you, right? I mean, the stakes have gotten high. You don't want to be anywhere near something that can rob you, not just of your joy or your health, but your life, right? One mistake and that's it, right? So, what we've given you is an opportunity for you to do something today, right? That's the leaders, we do it today. You don't postpone or procrastinate. Is to say, I want to take a drug-free pledge. We have 5 components to it. It says, resist the temptation for immediate gratification. So can you have self-control so you work for the things that are important in your life and then you get them, right? You're not afraid of short-term hard, long-term easy, right? Number 2, say no to anyone who tries to tempt you into it, right? The peer pressure, right? You're not going to fall into that. Now, you know, the reason they do that is because misery loves company, right? If they're struggling, they want you to join in, right? But you don't have to. Number 3, encourage someone else. Share what you just learned here. Save someone else's life if you can. Number 4, prioritize investing in your time so that these things don't take away from getting to your amazing dreams. And we're really excited. You guys have demonstrated to us that you have the potential for great leadership, for a great life, and we're giving you the tools to go pursue it now, right? And then the last thing, have a good mentor. That's why we've been trying to get you into mentoring, is have someone who can give you advice so you never make those bad decisions. So you've got like Mr. Allen and Mr. Louise, you've got people who care about you here. Use your mentors, right? Help make good decisions and you'll never have to worry about this. So if you'd like to sign this today, you print your name at the top, sign it. We're going to give you a Character GPS challenge coin. Not available in any store, right? And so you'll be able to put this in your wallet, your pocket, your purse, right? To remind you that you're living now this life of control for yourself, right? So this is a great opportunity here. Now, so you have the GPS challenge coin. And then, of course, we have our teaching sheet. So if you teach right away today what you learned, you'll never forget these important lessons. We're giving you a lot of information here today. All right, so put your name at the top. So reviewing very quickly, what are our 3 T's? To manage yourself in life, you got to manage your what? Time, temptation, and treasure. So write that in, your 3 T's, right? Then addiction. It's a reoccurring urge for something that you can't, what's the C word? Control. You should be controlling your life, not other people, not addictions, right? 2 kinds of addictions though. Chemical and habit, right? So this is something you teach this today before you go to sleep, right? You move it to your long-term memory, you're going to be set up for life. So the last thing, just to put this all together in perspective, is in life you have wants and needs, right? So thinking about the basic needs don't go away. You have to have them to live, right? So Xavier, what would be an example of a basic need that you have to have? Food, correct answer. Gianni? Water, correct.
Water.
Cody, what else do you need?
Sunlight.
Sunlight, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. What else do you need? You remember? What's that?
Here.
Air, oxygen, correct answer, right? You also need an education. That's why you're here, so you can pursue your dream, right? All those are needs. Everything else then is a want, right? So if you want pleasure, you can either try to get it through illegal drugs, or you can simply do things that your body responds to, right? Reward yourself, and you're gonna get those things that you need, right? So you don't need all the negative stuff. Sometimes it's tempting, right? The temptations fall in the want category, but focus on your needs and you'll never go wrong. So guys, we're really proud of you. You guys are leaders. You're going to help make a difference in this world. And I can share one other thing. When I was at my fraternity, and I wasn't drinking, but other people were, one of my fraternity brothers, and I'll never forget, his name was Dean Price. He comes to the kitchen. I'm just going to get some more soda, right? And you know what he asked me? He says, Jeff, you're not drinking alcohol. I said, no, I don't need it. I'd be happy just, enjoying being with people, right? Well, guess what? He said, I'm an alcoholic. I'm only a sophomore, and I think I'm an alcoholic. I said, Dean, I'm so sorry. He said, can you help me? I said, well, what can I do? He said, you're having a good time. If I can hang with you, then I won't feel like out of place that I need to be drinking like everyone else. I said, Dean, you can hang with me anytime. So Dean hung with me at the party, and he stopped drinking. So not only my decision saved my life, but your decision can save other people's lives too. Is that pretty cool?
Awesome.
All right, so when you come up here, tell me one thing you learned. I've got, again, a Twizzler or mint, and then if you want to take the pledge, bring up your signature here on your drug-free living, and we'll give you a challenge coin. So congratulations, guys. Have a great Easter. You got a 3-day weekend coming up
No
here.
school tomorrow.
Yeah,
No school tomorrow.
so we're very proud of you.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Look, Xavier, looks like you're upset here. All right? You can take that with you if you like.